The second season, I focused really hard on financial abuse and people who'd been victims of financial abuse or provide support services to those people. So that was my most popular season to date. A lot of people really interested in that. Women coming forward who'd been human trafficked by their husbands, like horrific stuff, but the money was the big deal. And the third one was about meeting the experts. So
in today's episode of my podcast story, we have Amanda Cassar, the brilliant mind behind the podcast Financial Secrets Revealed. Amanda is a financial advisor based on Australia's Gold Coast, where she combines an expertise in financial planning with a deep commitment to raising awareness about financial abuse. With a master's in financial planning and a unique focus on ethical investing and family business dynamics, Amanda's journey is as inspiring as it is impactful. She's not just a financial expert, she's a passionate storyteller and advocate dedicated to empowering others to navigate their financial lives with confidence. Amanda is here to share her inspiring journey on how she built her show from the ground up, blended her professional insights with her personal experience to create a podcast that truly makes a difference. Tell us your name and the name of your podcast and what your podcast is about.
okay. Do you want to wait till you're recording or you are recording already? Oh, you're already going. I didn't even see the countdown. I'm Amanda Cassar from Financial Secrets Revealed podcast.
What's the podcast about?
So the podcast initially started because I wrote a book called Financial Secrets Revealed. And it's an interview style book where I talk to all different people about their money stories and lessons they got from their parents when they were growing up or mistakes they've made with money. And I interviewed people who are surviving on Social Security money right through to multimillionaires. So once I'd put the book together, sort of a couple of years later, I went, that's a really easy format to turn into a podcast and have those people back and interview them. So for people who don't want to pick up a book, you can just drive along and have a listen. So that was basically how the podcast started. It was turning a book into a podcast.
Yeah, wow. Okay, the strange, sweet thing is that in writing the book, you had to interview the people, and then later on, you had to go back to the interview, which was the podcast.
Yep. So a couple of years later, which was good also to do updates because things change for people after a couple of years. So there were some more insights, like some of the questions I'd asked people about what would you like to teach your children about money. They actually went back and had a think and went, no one's ever asked me that before. And I don't think I'm teaching my child anything about money because my parents didn't teach me. So it was interesting to have it for them to have a think as well and go, I'm actually making more of a positive effort to teach my children things about money. So it was interesting to get that feedback as well from the people I interviewed.
When you started the podcast, what were you like hoping to get out of it? I know you said it was like an offspring of the book.
I by day am a financial advisor, so it's a very, I suppose, controlled environment for work. It's very logical. I have to do a lot of research and meet with people. So I don't get to be super creative. So for me, it was more about I could be a bit creative. I could do something that was related to my work, but outside of it, I could be known and raise my profile as an expert about money within the financial services profession. And because it was something I don't really have time to go off and pursue and make sure I've got content for an episode every week, I decided to do it in seasons.
Ooh.
So that worked really well for me, where I batch do about 15 episodes for a season, and then I can go away and get back into work, because unless you've got paid sponsors, it's expensive for the production because I've no idea how to do all the editing. So it was more a creative outlet for me to begin with.
Okay. So how does the podcast?
I have 3 seasons released now. So this would be the 4th year. And I've started from this year to do some collaboration podcasts. So the first season was all about the book and interviewing people from the book about their financial secrets. The second season, I focused really hard on financial abuse and people who'd been victims of financial abuse or provide support services to those people. So that was my most popular season to date. A lot of people really interested in that. Women coming forward who'd been human trafficked by their husbands, like horrific stuff, but the money was the big deal. And the third one was about meeting the experts. So going back to basics, like what is an ETF? What is a share? How do I invest in managed funds? Talk to someone who is an expert in investing in whiskey. So meeting the experts in different fields. So they're the 3 seasons I've done to date. So try and do something a little bit different than just the ordinary, you know, what's life insurance, what's TPD insurance. I think there's so much information available now, but people's stories are always fascinating. So I think people love to hear about other people's stories and go, oh, I like that idea. I could do that. I don't like that one. Why on earth would anyone come up with that? So we can be as judgy as we like while we're listening to other people's stories, but hopefully learning from the experience as well.
I feel like I'm listening to a chef tell me what they're serving in their restaurants. Like, no, I changed that recipe. No, this recipe, I like this recipe. They say this recipe is at the end of the day, that's the sweet thing about a podcast. You have the full creative control of what you want to do with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the collaboration's a new thing for me. So it's going to be like a 6-part mini series. I'm partnering with a fund manager. We're doing a deep dive on 4 of their different products. So getting to meet the people who design the products for the Australian market. So it's slightly different, but again, I just get to do the fun things that I like to do and then can go back and do a 4th season of my own
Yeah.
podcast. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay. Yeah, is it an audio only podcast or you're active on YouTube?
I do put it on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Yes.
From day one, or
So
has it been like along the way?
all the way along. The first editor that I had really dropped the ball on me and didn't put them up like I'd asked. So I did have to go and find somebody else. So it did take a bit longer to get them up than I would have
Oh,
liked. But that's okay. We make mistakes. We live and learn along the way and
yeah.
just move right
Yeah.
along.
Wow. Oh, okay. How's the YouTube doing?
Not as well as it could. Because I've got the full-time day job as well, and I'm a grandma now, so I love spending time with my little baby grandkids. I probably don't promote it as well as I should. So look, that's on me completely, but I guess they're very different mediums. So some people who just, you know, love listening in the car versus sitting down and watching a video. Yeah, it's on me, I think, to promote it a little bit more than it's on both.
Yeah.
So not shooting the lights out, but it's
Wow.
there.
You currently you're not the one editing your podcast, but I'd love for you to like walk us through the workflow, how you produce your and make your podcast, and then yeah.
Yeah, so I was recommended to use the Riverside software by my original editor. He said it was really easy for him because it records 2 visual tracks and 2 audio tracks, which he said made it a lot easier. So I took his word for it and find that many other podcasters do use it as well. So once it's recorded, my editors, who are now I use based in the Philippines, called Oh My Pod, they will look at the episodes that I've got, do the editing for me in the background on Riverside. So I don't even have to send them anything. They have access to that, and they will do the upload to YouTube for me. And then it's up to me to promote. Maybe I should pay them extra and get them to promote it as well on my channels.
Uh,
Again, live and learn along the way.
yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's nice to know that that's taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah, so often, like when I'm talking, I'll sort of scribble the time down if someone's had a huge coughing fit or there's something I want to take out, so I can do that along the way, and they just get back to me at the end and let me know how it
How
went.
much would you say you spend to produce your podcast? Like, I know you do seasons, but well, let's say a month, or I don't know how would we really work around the cost, because yeah, now that you do seasons, it's not like you do it every month. It's more like you do episodes and then release.
Yeah, so there are some set costs. So obviously something like Buzzsprout that hosts your podcast, that has to be paid regardless of whether you're producing or not. So in Australian dollars, that works out around 26 Aussie dollars. So I'm guessing that's probably around 12 or 13 pounds a month that needs to be paid. The editing of the episodes is anywhere between 100 and 150 Australian dollars, so 50 to 75 pounds for each episode. Then it's just my time, I suppose, promoting it. There's obviously, time uploading them to Spotify and Apple, those sort of things as well. So if you're counting your time as money, it gets really expensive to do all that if you don't have someone doing it for you. So I think there's some intangible costs as well as financial costs. So a single episode could be, easily $150 to $250 to have produced and go live.
That's ooh.
It's a lot of money if you don't know how to do it yourself.
Yeah.
But halve that for
Yeah.
pounds. Yeah, $50 to $75,
Yeah,
75 pounds per episode, I
yeah.
guess.
I mean, if you have the money to, like, it's not a big deal.
Which is why I need a day job.
But if you don't have the money, you have to do it yourself. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to.
Which is why I understand, a lot of people have to collaborate and, get the sponsorships going. Makes sense.
That's like the next question I want to even ask you. Do you make money from your podcast other than promoting the book?
So no, I haven't in the past. The first one that I've done, this new mini series that's about to launch for this year, is the first time I've been paid. So because it's a marketing campaign for them, yes, they've paid me to put together the 6 episodes and get them out. That will cover all of my production costs and a little bit extra, which is great. So might allow me to make a couple more episodes of my own, or give you a little bit back on what I've already invested.
Let me adapt the question a bit. Have you ever gotten do you speak professionally? Have you ever gotten a speaking gig from your podcast?
Not yet, but I'm available.
How do you know if a speaking gig comes from your podcast or not?
Usually I ask. Most of my professional speaking is done within the financial services profession in Australia and globally. So I know that comes from the associations that I'm a part of. So to be able to do professional speaking from a podcast, that hasn't happened as yet. But I'm in the UK next week if anyone wants me.
Yeah. Wow, that's like, wow. Okay.
Just depends when the episode goes out. Probably too late and I'll be home by then.
I mean, if they're ready to, like, cover the cost, have you in a very nice hotel, pay for the flight and everything, and then I mean, you're available.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. What apart from, let's leave monetary benefits. I know that you talk about this marketing production you're doing for this company, but other than monetary benefits, what would you say are the non-monetary benefits you've gained from your podcast for the past 4 years?
I think you are positioning yourself as an expert in your field by becoming the host of the podcast. Even though most of the questions, I will pose them as a consumer. So I will sit there and, talk to one of the experts about what exactly is an ETF. If I'm an investor, what do I need to know? So I actually know all that stuff as a financial advisor. I could sit there and do it myself. But I think asking those questions on behalf of a consumer and interviewing these people, who I'm fortunate enough to work with, I think you're sort of positioning yourself as someone who can provide information that can be broken down at a consumer or client level. So you're still positioning yourself, as an expert in your field that has access to, other experts and professionals who can help them. So, am I then positioned as someone who, I might be a great financial advisor to go to because I have these contacts, or, people want to see me as an expert in the field of financial abuse and know that I'll be sensitive to what they've been through. Do a lot of public speaking, for women's groups about financial abuse and other podcasts, because it's not a topic that's spoken about a lot. So it also means I've got a niche field where people go, oh, she's the girl who talks about that. So it can position you in various different ways across your profession, and I think it adds to your credibility.
Wow. Okay. I like for us to step back a bit. This marketing work you're doing with this company, how did you get it?
Sorry about the marketing.
No, this production, this series you're doing with this mini series you're doing with the company that's paying you. How did you get the gig?
I actually had the idea of collaborating because obviously it was getting expensive for me to keep funding all my own seasons. So I had the idea of approaching some fund managers who were more boutique. Like, I mean, I could go to someone like Vanguard and they're like, if you don't have that many listeners on your podcast, we're not really interested in, funding you to talk to half a dozen people about our product. So, then I can go to, a smaller boutique group and say, look, if we do a collaboration, this is going out within the financial services profession. So other advisors will hear about you. Plus, the end consumer will also hear about you. So it was something I'd been kicking around as a collaboration. And if it works really well, there's 2 others I've approached who'd already like to go in and do some mini series as well with us, do deep dives on their products, meet the head of the fund themselves so that we can find out, what are the values of these fund managers. I think people now just think everything corporate's horrible and greedy and they're mostly out to get you. But, when you're hearing about how did the funds get established, what are your credentials? Why did you invent this fund? What do I have to do to invest in it? What sort of a return am I going to get? People like, I think, those behind the scenes stories that break it down and make it real. I think especially for boutique providers, there is an opportunity to do the collaboration and get the word out a little bit more. And it's something that they can use in their marketing collateral as well. It doesn't just go out, through my channels. It's something that they can also leverage to their own audiences and have on their websites too.
I mean, that would be nice. I'm trying to think of the air quotes, boutique that group that would be applicable for my own industry. I mean, you say boutique group because it's financial services, but in my industry, it might be different. So yeah. So I tell them, come, give me a lot of money. I'm going to make you go viral.
Throw it into ChatGPT. Throw it in ChatGPT. It'll have the answer for everything.
I have this brilliant idea. I'm going to make content for you, and you guys are going to go viral. I say, yeah. I mean, I won't say that, but I'm like,
and you got to pay me to do it. Well, if they consider it, I suppose, as part of their marketing budget, it's just a different way of doing it, where then they don't need to go and get a production room. They don't need to go and get the editors. Somebody is providing the content for them to use. So it's very much a new way or an extension of a marketing plan.
And I mean, that's one of the things that content creators, podcasters, they don't really factor into when the production of content. I'll give an example. If a company was to create content, they would actually need to either get an actor, get someone to actually be the face of the content, and then they would also get a team to record, to edit, to put everything together. And that's, for them, is time. There's someone to manage, someone to direct, produce. That's a lot. But you just say, okay, don't worry, I'll do everything for you. And whether the content gets exposure or not, that's we're not talking about that yet. Like the fact that you produce that content for them, that itself is what's paying for. And yeah. Oh, that's nice. Thanks for sharing that.
I think so. And I'd like to do more of
it. You said?
I just said, I'd like to do more of it as well.
That's true. Yeah. Now that we've got into knowing your process and all that, what are some of your projections or marketing plans? Can you pull the curtain and show us some of the things you're tinkering with or experimenting with for your podcast?
Gosh. I've got a couple of other seasons that I'd really love to do going forward. Because I do public speaking, I know a lot of public speakers who do travel around the world. And it's one of those professions that's quite unique because it's a very feast or famine income. If you're not getting gigs, you're not getting paid. If you're getting gigs, you're getting, really good money usually for it. So I'd love to do a season with speakers on how they manage cash flow. Because COVID just smashed them, and some adapted and pivoted really beautifully and, did online and they came out the other side still doing really well. They used that downtime to create new content and do things. And, if I hear that word pivot again, it's just so annoying, but it's what so many had to do. So I think that would be a really fascinating series. And I'd also because the financial abuse was so popular, I think also shining the spotlight on elder abuse. I'd love to do a more serious podcast on that. I think it needs to be highlighted. There's a lot of terms and expressions that people don't really know about, like inheritance impatience and granny dumping, where elderly people are, instead of being cared for as part of our communities, they're being treated as the cash cows, which is really distressing. And I'd love to shine a bit more of a spotlight on that. And so that, people who are there to help can talk about the things that are available. So I'm always kicking around some new ideas for the podcast and what to do, and reach out to people who I can interview. I do use Pod Match, which is a matching service for guests and hosts, whichever one you are, or both. So that for me has been a really great way of not only appearing as a guest on podcasts, but finding interesting people from around the world who I wouldn't have known otherwise to be able to, contribute to my podcast. So there's some really great services out there now that are available to,
before you
podcasters or budding ones.
like go ahead, because I know you have so many, like you're ready to like give wow us with a lot of value and a lot of ideas. Those ideas, the first set of ideas you shared for the series you'd love to do, have you written it down anywhere?
Yes, I
You
have.
sure?
I have. You don't sound like you believe me.
Do-
And I've
do you-
shared it with people. That makes me
Do you
accountable.
believe yourself?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to be sure. That's true. It would be nice to like kind of have like a podcast. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but kind of like a podcast dashboard where you can just go in and they see, okay, everything that's like, how do I explain that? Okay. I'll give you have you heard of Notion?
No.
The project management, note taking, database.
What's it called
Notion,
again?
Notion. How about Asana? ClickUp,
I know of Asana. Yep.
Trello.
Yep. Yes, know that
ClickUp.
one. Clicko, I don't think I've heard of or used.
Oh, you've not heard of Notion? Notion. Wow.
No.
Wow.
Maybe it's a British thing, not an Australian
No,
thing.
like I'm like the company is like really, really popular. Like, well, it's all right. I mean, I'm just quite surprised. Okay, so the other idea is like having a dashboard where you can see the expenses, the money you're spending on. Because one of the things I've noticed that most of my guests, they don't really track the amount they spend on their podcast, and that for me it's kind of like it's quite surprising. Because I'm like, if you're spending money on stuff, you're supposed to like know so that you can optimize, you can tinker some things and see, okay, I've been spending money on this software. This software is not really working for me. Let me change to something else. And yeah.
Okay, so for my financial tracking, I do use the MyOb software.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's
I mean,
global
you
MyOb,
are
but
the
it's like
expert.
a tax.
You're the
track.
expert. You're the
Sorry.
expert. Well,
So I've got a bookkeeper who I meet with every 3 months, and we sit down and go through, our expenses and income, and she knows this is a bit of a it's not exactly a black hole project, but it's certainly not a money spinner.
Ooh. Okay. I just assume I did not hear you just call the podcast a black hole. It's all right.
Well, it could be if I just wanted to just keep on spending and not control it, for sure.
Okay. Wow, that's that. I mean, there are a lot of I've had guests who they've gotten a lot of speaking opportunities from their podcast, right? And yeah, and they don't make money directly from the podcast itself, but it has been like a really like a big platform for them to like get gigs for speaking engagements and all that, right? Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
what are like of course the YouTube channel is like YouTube is like really a big platform to like get a lot of listeners and viewers. Is there any like anything you're cooking up for the YouTube?
Not yet. It is in my projects to do.
Okay. How
I
about
did
this?
write.
How about this? Let me and my viewers and listeners, let them also see the YouTube channel, and then we'll be the judge of that. Of course, if you're down,
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
if you're down for it, though. But hey, I can't. Hey, if you're not, if that's not what you're really into, no problem. We can just proceed as if I never asked the question.
No, please, Chief. All
Yeah.
feedback graciously accepted.
You can share the screen.
Just don't
Yeah.
be too mean.
Yeah.
Let me have a look where it is. Okay, go onto my channel. Here we go. That's my content. Here we go. Sorry, I've gone into
The black hole.
the black hole. Yeah, I seem to be good at that. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, sharing my screen. We're back to Riverside.
Still see your face.
Okay, there we
Okay, wow. Hey, just a quick break. If you enjoying the insights so far and want even more behind the scenes ideas, inspiration and tools for growing your own podcast, join my email list at mypodcaststory.com/join. That is mypodcaststory.com/join. You get access to helpful resources, exclusive updates, and the kind of stuff I only share with my email subscribers. Whether you're starting out or already podcasting, there's something valuable waiting for you. Head over to mypodcaststory.com/join and subscribe. Now, back to the episode. Wow, okay.
So this is just my personal. It was a speaking gig I did in Hawaii.
This is your
last
personal
year.
channel. Okay.
Sorry?
Okay, you have a special channel for the podcast.
This is just my personal channel that I've used. So I've also got my business channel, Wealth Planning Partners, on there. But
where is the
there is a podcast.
Where is the podcast on? Is it on your personal or your business channel?
It's on my personal one at the moment at Amanda Cassar. And under podcast, there's a couple of the seasons.
Click on
there.
videos at the top. Yeah, that way it shows the long form videos. Okay. I mean, the videos are being posted, but there are no thumbnails. And why does the video click that? You see that the cursor so now, right? Follow that horizontal line. Yeah. Click on that video. Yeah. Why does it have? I don't know if it's my eyes. The actual video, it has this. No, once you play the actual video, you see like skip to the actual. Yeah. Why does it have this? Yeah. Why? I don't know. I just have a weird thing with this. I don't even sound.
The background.
No, not the background. Like you see that space at the top and the space at the like. It's. I feel like the content should just like have the.
That's why I've left that editor.
Wait.
So this was.
Wait, is this the former editor or the new editor?
So this is the old editing. I think he's put the cover of my book behind it, but there's a lot of white space on the cover of the book. So that picture is part of the cover of my book that he's put behind the podcast. That's really not a great picture of me. I should have.
What I'm saying is like there are a lot of creative ways he could have put the, even without like having to do this.
Yeah.
Like look, there's a lot of real estate that's been wasted on the video. Yet like that's why I'm saying the video is not like it's not designed and optimized for the platform. It's like when you post Instagram reels, Instagram live on YouTube, you see the way the left and the right has this this empty.
Yeah, because it's a square instead of the rectangle.
And it looks really strange. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was my season.
The titles are pretty. They're pretty sick. Okay, this is the old editor, so I'm not going to say anything.
No, like again, it's not a platform I know much about. I spend all my days talking to clients. So any feedback on how to make these better, I'm more than happy to have your wisdom.
Okay. The titles,
see what I did there.
like right now, I'm looking at the video and I can't really tell what the video is about. Yeah, I mean, you wrote Financial Secrets Revealed, but you and I, that's not what they like. How do I explain that? That's the title of probably the series or the season or the podcast, but that's not the content, right? And I know that the content is valuable. So the AI can really like help you out with the automatic process.
Yeah, perfect. Great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Such that when people see the podcast, they immediately know, okay, is this for me or is this not for me? Like it should be it should be easy for people to know that yes or no. They shouldn't be confused. Yeah, they should know feedback. Okay, what to expect, and such that when they click on the video, they are not disappointed.
No, that's good feedback. And look, there's plenty of AI that can help you with that for sure. And I suppose highlighting, SEO and keywords and those sort of things too.
The difference between this YouTube channel and podcast is usually when people go to your podcast, they probably have heard about your podcast from you, and so they're going to check your podcast out. So it doesn't really matter what the title might be; they would listen anyway, right? For YouTube, people that don't even know who you are.
Even I suppose it would be better.
Hello? You said?
Yeah, so do a Financial Secrets Revealed podcast channel rather than just Amanda Cassar.
No. It's your personal brand. That's not really like, if you want to do that, that's, I mean, there's no hardware, but you can also do it in your personal channel. Like,
well, I have. So, but look, again, if that's something I shouldn't be doing, then I'm always learning wisdom. Happy to learn.
Yeah. I mean, the title and then the thumbnail, those are like the two minimum. For the thumbnail, you can just get someone that understands how to design. Okay, that's true. You are the third person I am telling on my podcast now that I'm trying to design. Okay, I'll give an example. Okay, while we're here, I'll just ask you, can you go to Lenny's podcast? search for Lenny's podcast, so you see what the thumbnail could. And this pod
Sorry,
Lenny, Lenny. Okay, yeah, that's the first autocomplete. This podcast is for products, tech products, and all those stuff. Those the industry. Now, if you see each of the episode, now you immediately know if the stuff is for you or not without even clicking on it. You know, okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
want to watch
absolutely.
this stuff. You like the names that he uses on the podcast and the episodes, the statements, the title, and everything. Those people that are in the industry, those people that are into those stuff, they know that. Oh yeah, this is my stuff. Right? But you see.
Yeah,
Now I don't even know if you noticed that
yeah, it's a great
he's using
example.
a template. Is like you can easily tell that this video is from this,
Yes.
and the template, because he
Yeah.
has worked with a designer. So basically what he needs to do is just put in the picture of the changing the text, like depending on what the stuff, like this one, what comes after code, the what's first autonomous AI engineer, right? It's the same template. So I'm working on the templates. I'm trying to like replicate a couple of these templates, and you use Canva. Oh, that's true. Someone is doing this.
Sorry, can you hear those birds in the
No,
background?
no, I'll fix it in post production. Don't worry. Yeah, I just
Screeching
do
cockatoos. You won't get them
do some
anywhere else.
AI magic. Okay. Yeah, I
Good
just
idea.
wanted to show you. So you see how it's different, it's compelling. Like there's title, right? So when you look at the title, you really know, okay, this is for me or this is not for me. And yeah, you get to like views. Like I mean, if you play the YouTube game, you can really get a ton of views. Like YouTube is built for discovery.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's certainly something I haven't, again, gone down the rabbit hole of getting it right. And yeah, this is beautiful feedback to be able to do
Yeah,
that.
and
So
the
yeah,
funny thing is,
and such a great podcast to show
yeah,
off.
yeah, well, at the end of the day, when you watch some of this podcast, what you realize is not it's not like your content does not have value. It's just that these guys have packaged it. You know how all these restaurants they do all not supermarkets, they do all this packaging, they brand it, put it in the carton, put colors, and
Yeah,
yeah.
it's instantly
Yeah,
recognizable.
I
Yeah,
see. Yeah, they've packaged it
yep.
and it's clear, it's simple, it's direct, right? You look at it, you know, okay, yeah, this is something I want to look at. This is something I want to consume. And the sweet thing is that once you create the template, you don't have to spend time doing it. You can easily
Yeah,
just
keep changing it.
go and and just put in the picture and change the text, and that's yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, great idea.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, the YouTube is something we're all trying to figure out. Once we get it, like I mean, the sky is literally
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
What was I even going to ask you? Yeah, I mean, we talk about the
So I've got a pussycat now wandering around.
yeah. I don't know why
You probably have pussycat.
all the guests I have, their cats seem to be interested in this pod.
You're a cat magnet.
Oh, it's a okay. I see.
There's worse things to
Is it?
be.
At least this one is polite. It's not coming onto the camera. Some of them they'll come and they'll look towards the camera and they're like, oh, who's this guy? What's and I'm like, okay, it seems the guest came to the podcast meeting. Give the guest the we might have so interview. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's
As long as you don't get the cat's bum in the camera,
yeah.
you're okay.
Yeah. Okay, I might as well ask the cat some questions. That's how is it having a podcast host
It's probably
as an
cleverer than me at YouTube.
yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Too
This
funny.
has been a fun episode. Yeah, I'm glad this is going on YouTube. I'm not going to cut this part out. I'm going to leave it in.
You've got to cut the cat out. This is Marley.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Marley's the foster
Molly.
cat
Okay,
nobody
Molly.
wants.
Molly, say hi to the camera. Yeah. Oh,
I'm playing with the mic now.
Okay. Wow. So the question now is, other than the episode you've talked about and then the marketing for the YouTube, what are some crazy projections now? Not just projections in general, but crazy projections in the set. What are some things you do hope to get out of the podcast, right? There's a speaking. I don't want to give examples so I don't look like I'm leading you with the answers. I want you to like actually come up with
No, look, I know you've said the speaking, and that's very definitely
see,
something I
you
want
see, that's why I
because
didn't
it's
want to say
something I've
speaking.
been.
I feel like
I
because I said speaking.
No, no, no. I'll do more as well. But because I guess I've been speaking so much within the profession, being able to speak professionally outside of just conferences for financial advisors is something I really want to do and be paid professionally for. There will probably be another book at some stage.
Okay.
The financial abuse has really hit a chord with a lot of people. So that will probably look, it's not going to again be, light bedtime reading to talk about financial abuse, but I think it's something that people have resonated with. And most people sort of sit there and go, I've never heard of it. So I'd like to do a bit more about that. What else? Obviously now I've got to go away and rejig my entire YouTube channel. So that'll be next on my things to do. And I think it's something that, look, I'm learning as I go. And while I've still got a full-time job as a financial advisor, it is so difficult to have that focus and direction on something that for me is, I guess, a bit of a hobby and a creative outlet. As I go, through life, if I ever sell my business or something, is it an outlet that, I might want to do more of? Probably. So it's probably what I'd call in the too hard basket at the moment to get it perfect because I don't have the bandwidth to spend on it. But, if it does create those other opportunities like you're talking about, some years ago I went to an event in Texas called FinCon, and it was about where people in the media meet those who talk about money. And in the States, there was a lot about student debt, but there were a ton of podcasters there. And it was 2017. And I came away from that with mind blown and completely knew that I wasn't ready yet. So it did take me a few more years to be able to get into the space, which was probably the sweet spot of podcasting back then. I probably should have jumped on it and I'd be, tons ahead of where I am now. But it was just, I understood how complex it was with the editing and all the rest of it and, getting it right instead of, just, pull up a mic, get onto YouTube and start doing some interviews. So again, it's just a learning experience. Does it mean down the track I can talk about my journey with podcasts?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And all the mistakes I made along the way
Yeah.
and doing that as well. So, there's opportunities in everything
Yeah.
that we do. I also speak with the financial abuse and the elder abuse. I do financial advice for people going into long-term care. So, is that another opportunity? I've got fingers in lots of pies with stuff. It's just I'm a bit scattergun at the moment because I've got so many great ideas and I'm a little bit next bright shiny thing rather than I really need to do one thing well, which I do in my day job. But yeah, the others don't get the attention and time that they deserve because my clients deserve that right now.
Yeah, I understand. Like, I think recently I was speaking with a guest on the show, and I was like, personally, the sweet thing about being a podcast, it's your personal brand, right? Even though it's a podcast, right? It's one of those things that even if peradventure, if you build your podcast and your podcast becomes really, really big, you would have grown your own personal brand. And so even though tomorrow you'd say, "Oh, I'm no longer doing the podcast," your personal brand is up there, right? And for me, I have no experience in the speaking industry. I've never spoken in an event before, but I feel, right? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel that usually the popular persons in the industry get paid more to speak compared to everyone.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. And unfortunately, we get to hear from a lot of people who are incredibly smart at what they do, but they're dreadful presenters because they're not public speakers. They're fund managers or insurance guys who know, so much about actuarial information or how to put a product together. Whereas if someone can break that down, take away the jargon, make it a bit fun and, get behind it and get a bit of personality with it, I think it makes it really different because just because you know your stuff doesn't mean you know how to present it. And we probably had teachers like that at school
Yeah.
too, who were really smart and knew their stuff, but they weren't good teachers because they couldn't, get it across in the way people wanted to learn. So, that's why I'm sure there's probably, the really well-paid public speakers are the fun, interactive, big energy, or they've got a beautiful story to tell where there's emotion in it and they take you on a journey. So it's probably the same in podcasting. It's not just, true crime as a genre has huge following, But, there's podcasts that go super viral and get really interesting versus, the little backdoor jobs that, aren't as invested. So it's like anything, it's an interesting space.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of how do I like in business, for example, there are certain businesses that want to sell, certain founders that want to sell their business, and they're like, we're only going to sell to this specific business. If this business is not, if they're not wine, we're not going to sell this business, right? Because of the brand, those business or the persons they've built. And some certain person was like, if I'm going to work with someone, is this specific person I want to work with because of the brand the person's built. So personal is one of those things that it will flow into all the areas around both personal, both money, both everything. So it's going to like make make everything different because people tend to trust you even before you walk into the room. And so even when you like hop on the call, people are like, they're not like, they're like, where should I pay? Where should I send the money? And you're like, no, but I need to like tell you so that you know if this program is right for you. No, like, no. I know it's right for me. Don't tell me that.
Which I guess it establishes that know, like, and
Yeah,
trust before you get there. And on the flip side, it also gets rid of people who go, I think she's full of it. I don't like her.
yeah,
So you get rid of the tire kickers as well. So it works both ways,
yeah,
which is really good.
yeah. That's the thing. Hopefully, probably maybe in a year, 6 months or so, you start getting speaking gigs from your podcast, and that would be nice to
That would be
to have
great.
a follow up, a part two of an episode, and then
Yeah,
have you come
exactly.
on the podcast.
Wisdom, you made me go viral on the public speaking stage.
Yeah, please, if you're looking for a financial expert or to give it, please. Now, of course,
Be a call.
something handsome, and you know, wow, that would be nice, right?
Uh,
I mean, the thing, one of the things I've seen about podcasting is just not the fact that you get, is I think recently I had a conversation with a guest, and I was like, you can talk to the people that are movers and shakers in the events and speaking gig industry and have them on your podcast. Now, of course, it depends on how it ties into your message and all that. But yeah, like you can have them to come on your podcast, talk to them. Like what I'm saying is, podcasting is like a magic tool for net. And that's like the part most people don't
yeah.
talk about. Everybody's talking about the views, money, and all that. But like you're a podcast host right now. You're a financial in the financial niche and industry, right? Because of those podcasts, I've gotten to speak with so peradventure tomorrow I'm like, oh, someone I'm like, yeah, I know, yeah, who in my contacts have I interviewed on the podcast? Yeah, I message you. I'm like, hi, someone's talking about this. What is it? And I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, right. It's one of it's like imagine if I wanted to network or build my network. I'm trying to think of a better way. Like I'm like, hi, I've just messaged you on Instagram. I'm like, hi, I love to. That would be like really strange. I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, I'm like, well, like, oh, I have a podcast. I'd love to have you interview you on my podcast and talk about this. And like, yeah, sure. What- right? I mean, you're a podcast host. You're a podcast guest, right? And we have a conversation. And what happens? You get to like build the relationship with the people in the industry, right? It's not like one of those interviews. Oh, at the end of it, I have to speak. We know. It's just that by the interview, people get to know you, and then if they like you, they like you. If they don't like you, that's their business. But they know you, and peradventure tomorrow they're like, oh, we're putting an event together and stuff. Like, oh yeah, yeah. She invited. I spoke on a podcast. Yeah, I know her. She does speak because this is it. I don't do, but via this podcast, I know that you leak. I know that you're a financial expert just from this podcast, and you didn't have to like sell or pitch or try to sell me and stuff. It just came up naturally in a conversation, and so I know that you do this stuff. So yeah, that could be a way to like network and kind of like get our way into the radar of those guys that are looking for financial.
Yeah, absolutely. I've also written a course about financial abuse for financial professionals, and it's rolled out by a company in the UK. So I have had opportunities that have come up from having been a course writer and speaking about that course on the podcast, where now large financial institutions would like to collaborate
Mm,
and be able to roll out the information in the course to their members. So that's a side effect of not just being in the profession, but being very vocal in the profession and not just running the podcast, but, actively going, well, I think we need to do more about this, and putting the course together and then getting it, rolled out by someone who has a standards company. So yeah, there's been opportunities that have sort of, piggybacked off each other that are creating different opportunities that I hadn't thought of down the track. So that's been a cool outcome as well.
Wow, you didn't even mention that. Okay, maybe you signed a non-disclosure.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I didn't say anything then. Cut me out.
No. I was like, earlier when I was asking you about the non-monetary benefits you have from the podcast, you didn't mention this thing you just brought up. And so I was like, okay, maybe you did sign an NDA with a company that you're not supposed to talk about it. So maybe that's why you didn't bring it up. And,
No, not at all.
yeah.
No. Well, it's not a monetized part of the podcast. It's a separate thing altogether. So it's only if people sign up for the course, I would get a royalty. So
Okay.
yeah, that's
I
how
guess
that
if
one
we were to
works,
prioritize it now, if you just, okay, of course, starting a podcast and impacting the world, that's important. That's great. That's awesome, right? That's why we're doing the podcast, right?
Okay.
But if you could do one thing with your podcast, right? If you could reach one goal, with your podcast, just one, is it to make a ton of money? Or is it get speaking engagements and speak on TEDx, on TED and all those? The options, there are so many. What's that crazy one goal?
Yeah, there are so many. And look, I would love to do a TEDx talk.
TEDx or TED?
That would be it. TED.
Yeah.
TED preferably,
TED,
but I'll start with TEDx.
Baby steps. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'll work my way up. I'll practice the TEDx to work
okay.
with TED.
Okay. Let's say TED. TED will be the crazy goal. Yeah. TED, if you are watching or listening to this episode, please contact her. She knows that stuff. Yeah.
I do. And look, I'm in the States every year, so I can even come to you.
Yeah. That's not a problem. We'll figure out the logistics. Don't worry. You just send us an email.
That's my big hairy audacious.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's really nice. I mean, it's giving a TEDx talk or speaking of, especially TED, it's like a stamp of of credibility. She's even though you're the same person all along, but once TED, you just speak on TED, yeah,
it's a cool feather in the cap.
That would be nice. Please, once you get that, they contact you or you speak on TED or TEDx, please don't forget to reach out to us, right? So that we can pop some virtual champagne.
So Wisdom, you made it happen for me.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I've had so many guests. Please, I'm thinking of how many okay. How many cakes would I eat? That would be nice. Back to back. I was like, yeah. I know that definitely there'll be a cake, there'll be a party to celebrate it. Yeah. Because I'm interested in
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And the name of the podcast is Financial Secrets, right?
That's mine. That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Wisdom. I appreciate it. Thank you for the lessons I've got today too. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I need. If something comes or maybe something crazy or any crazy story you love, please just reach out to me via my and right now you're podcast family. Sure. So no need to just message me. I'm Amanda, that's good. Let's yeah. And then if I do notice anything I know that your workflow is clear, so if I notice anything regarding the YouTube ads, maybe maybe a workflow or any of those things, right? I would let you, and I just send you maybe a link. That's true. On my channel, I do publish videos, right? So when I publish a video that I feel will be beneficial or helpful to you, I'll just send you. And before I forget, where can listeners learn more about you?
LinkedIn, you will find my profile, Amanda Cassar on LinkedIn. I also have a website, amandacassar.com.au, and I'm on all the socials as Finance Chicks on X and Insta, so you'll find me there as well.
Oh, wow, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Welcome, mate.
Yeah,
thanks, Wisdom. It's been really
true.
lovely.
I had a financial expert on the podcast, and we didn't really talk money. What happened? What am I even doing?
I'll have to do it.
I need to realign my priorities. So, okay. We should have been talking money all through. I was asking you questions about personal impact. Like, who cares about personal impact? Wow, thank you so much. Wow, it's been fun chatting with you, and yeah, you made it easy for me. So that's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Okonkwo, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keep the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.